Hello, I'm UpYX Toycat, and they didn't intend to change the ore distribution in 1.17. They did it by accident. They meant to wait until 1.18, but they accidentally did it in update early, which meant that there are very few diamonds found where they are right now, because the other diamonds would be found below Y0, which of course doesn't exist yet. This is a very urgent bug for Minecraft Bedrock, and in case you're curious about the fix to this, then here is some good news, because Proud tweeted about the bug regarding ore distribution, and David Fries, the release manager, said this is on our radar, will be fixed soon. And then in response to someone who asks if it was already in a beta, he confirms yes, it already was in the 1.17.10 beta. They will be rolling out a urgent kind of bug fix that will include the candles, and it'll be coming out soon to fix diamond ore distribution, but right now it is incredibly rare. You're right to think that. By the way, welcome back to Q&A Saturday, the weekly series where I answer your questions about the big updates, 1.17.1, 1.18, and maybe even further. But let's answer the question of why I call it 1.18, because it is called 1.18 is the answer. But in case you don't believe me, here it is straight from Lady Agnes's mouth.
So part 1 will be 117 and part 2 is 118.
But I guess the more relevant question is, why are they calling them two separate updates? If they're two parts of the same update, then why would they give them entirely different version numbers? That doesn't make any sense. That's not what we've done before. And the answer they gave is this.
And the reason we gave them like major version numbers is because both part 1 and part 2 includes lots of really big features and lots of features, and then we think they should have like a major version number. So 117 and 118.
And so yes, that puts us in the funny situation where the 1.17 update came out on Tuesday, the 1.17.1 update will be rolling out soon enough, or 1.17.10 if you're on Bedrock, and then there will also be the 1.18 update, and then there will also be announced this year the 1.19 update. That is 4 updates to keep your eyes on at one given point in time, which is pretty fun to say, and it's not often we get to say that. But you know, the other question you might have about 1.18 then is there an expected timeline for it? When should you expect the 1.18 update? I mean, it's part 2 and it's got to be coming real soon, right? And here is the word straight from Lady Agnes's mouth again.
And part 2 is released end of this year.
Which pretty much mirrors the announcement they made when they split the update in two, that the second half would be coming holiday season 2021, which is a very vague time frame, but like the second half of this year, sometime in December, ready for the holidays or Christmas or whatever you want to call that festive time of year. But that is when you can expect the update, because that is typically when Minecraft updates perform best, as you know they've done throughout all of the last years. They always try to get some form of update off the holiday, and this year it's going to be Caves and Cliffs Part 2. Something that might affect, like making it later towards the end of December, as opposed to like early November though, is the fact that, in response to Lemon Grips, who says, appreciate all the work greatly, is there any plans for more blocks in Part 2, or is this the extent of them? And he suggests some blocks he'd like to see, but in response to that, King B Dog says, I would be very surprised if there weren't more blocks in some way. And although this is maybe bad news if you just want to get the part 2 generation as soon as possible, I think it's good news for those of us who are worried that like, oh, we're going to be spending 6 months getting features we already know entirely, they're just going to be making new generation work. It looks like they might, if some time comes up, if it happens anyway, naturally, we might be getting some new features we haven't even heard of yet in 1.18. That's exciting to me personally. Again, maybe I'm reading into that too much. Maybe they just mean, oh yeah, there's some new variant we have to have. Again, it would be surprised if they weren't, but the bare minimum you can take away from this is they haven't ruled out the possibility of adding new things in addition to the 1.17 features that obviously got cut and moved out to 1.18, which is exciting enough news for me. Speaking of exciting news, we got lots of it this week because the developers decided to do a Q&A on the Discord, which is a weird place to do a Q&A, but I won't criticize it too much. And so to answer your question, the casual Wendigo, what happened to Jeb's new combat update? Maybe it's not Jeb's combat update anymore. Oh, Raph, who a lot of you know most famously as the person who is working on archaeology, amongst a whole host of other things, by the way. Also, has featured on some streams on this channel. I would even like to consider him a personal friend, but he says, in response to Son saying, I've only ever heard Jeb talk about them, what are your feelings on the combat snapshots? And he says he's excited to pick up work on the combat snapshots. I've had a few talks on it with Jeb, and I think there is definitely more we can do there. I'm really excited to work on it together with the community to make it the best it can be. And so that is some exciting news that the focus for Ulraf seems to be the combat update, or at least it's one of the things he'll be doing, and that's great because we haven't heard much word from the combat snapshots in a while. If they're being worked on now, who even knows? Could be a 1.18, 1.19, 1.20 feature, whereas right now the combat snapshots have been going on for years and we don't really know what the end date of that is. It'll be exciting if that goes somewhere, but again, it sounds like a fresh pair of hands might do some great things. Who knows for sure? I'm excited. Speaking of things I'm excited for, Mike235 says, how many videos on the Minecraft 1.17 update do you want to make? Him, yes. And it's funny, this is one of those perspective things, because all week I've been feeling bad every day about, like, I'm only uploading one video about the update today. It used to be on the channel, and some of you might recall if you've been around since the console edition days, that when an update came out, I'd make like 6 videos on the first day, and then like 4 videos the next few days, and then like at least 2 or 3 videos every day for like a few weeks, because there's so much in an update to play around with and to talk about. And so it's weird, because I've been thinking like, wow, I'm making so few 1.17 videos, and you know, people like Mike235 are like, man, is there anything else that you talk about? And indeed, is this a 1.17 video? I mean, the title probably references 1.17.10, right? So yeah, it's kind of interesting, the perspective difference there. Everyone has different perspectives. Speaking of different perspectives, why do you have a British accent if you're from Quebec? While I gather the questions for the Q&A Saturday and try to answer them with what's been happening in the last week, I get a lot of very weird questions that sound like they're from people who have never watched a video, and this is one of the most confusing ones. It's like, I've never said I live in Quebec. I don't even have a particularly British accent, right? I know this is one of those big debates on in the comments section. To Americans, I seem to sound British, and to British people, I seem to sound slightly American. In the UK, people always mistake me as being American. It's a whole thing, a crisis of tragedy. But like, you know, how did you get Quebec from that? You know, it's so confusing. Every single word in this comment, even the fact that it says "and why," what does that mean? And so yeah, I get a lot of insane comments every day, and I like to just point out how many comments we go through for Q&A Saturday, which is why I come to ones like this. How is 1.17 going to affect servers or realms? Or does anyone know how to change simulation distance of realms? I have the answer to both your questions. Will the updates be changing realms? Maybe. So in the same Q&A the developers did on Discord, Corner Hard, who is the lead developer for realms, if I'm not mistaken, says, Q, are we ever going to have more realm space or more RAM? I think everybody in the Bedrock community wants more players, and they respond, it's one of the 3 most popular feature requests for realms, along with increased render distance and increased sim distance. We do need to make sure that realms can run Caves and Cliffs Part 2, the 1.18 update, smoothly first, and then we'll look more into these. We did briefly increase the Bedrock Realm simulation distance to 10 chunks earlier this year, but it didn't work smoothly for everyone, and we want all players to have a great experience on realms. And so yeah, basically 1.18 is the current priority. There are big performance improvements Minecraft has to make, and I'm sure that they don't have a bigger budget for the servers to make it all happen, so that's a big priority for them. And then after that, it sounds like either they're going to work, or like the things they want to work on most are increasing the player number, or an increased render distance, or an increased simulation distance. And again, those are hard things to do if presumably there is a budget that manages all those things that they have to work within. That's why the render distance on Realm sucks, because you pay $5.99 a month or whatever, but it has to run the entire time. It's an interesting problem to have. I kind of understand it. It's annoying because, you know, I obviously run my entire world off a Realm, and I get a way lower render distance than I would on any device. But again, it's interesting stuff. Speaking of interesting stuff, the best one out, this is, again, I read a lot of comments, and every now and then I'm just like, how did you get to this stage? But they say, what is 1.19? I didn't hear anything about it. And they put that in the video where I spoke about 1.19, where I spoke about the update coming after 1.18, because they have confirmed at this year's Minecon Live, Minecraft Live, basically they turned the Minecraft conventions into a live show, announce a once-a-year live show that's most famous for revealing the next big update, except we already know about the next big update, the Cave update, so they're revealing the next big update, 2022's big update, which is 1.19. What do you want to know about 1.19? Well, all we know is that it's not the Cave update, because we just had a Cave update. I'm just saying, would be cool to have one anyway. But Kojo, one of the Minecraft developers who speaks at Minecraft Live a lot, responds that, and someone talking about what important experiences in Minecraft do you wish to prioritize over the next few major updates, and what aspects of the game do you think need extra work or improvement. And he basically says that most of the developers right now actually look at Minecraft right now and think they want to focus on the existing systems in the game, bringing those up to speed with the current state of the game. The reason for this is because when we add new features, it sometimes leaves existing systems lacking / behind when we move on to the next thing. This is just how it goes in a game as open and with as many systems as Minecraft, so taking time to look back at lots of those is definitely high on our priority list. And then they say technologically we have big plans, and the idea is to make sure the engine's up to date with the latest technologies, improving the code bases, but also they talk about diversity and inclusion for Minecraft updates and making sure Minecraft is for everyone and making sure everyone can see themselves in the game. But like the most important part of that is obviously the fact that improving current stuff is a priority over adding new stuff right now to most people on the team, which means because they collectively pool ideas for each update, what will 1.19 be? Most likely an improvement to an existing system. I spoke about this a while ago that like, yeah, 1.13 all the way through 1.18 now will be improving existing features basically, and so it would be weird if 1.19 broke that trend. What will the existing system be? Could be deserts, could be jungles, could be farming or brewing, it could be the end. We really don't know which of those it will be. I've gone over speculation many times about what I'd like. I mean, again, I would like them to update all the dimensions because Jeb has said many times they're not adding any new dimensions till they've made the current ones more fleshed out. Once we have an end dimension, I'm just saying, it opens the portal, if you forgive my pun, to having a new dimension after that. So I would love to see an end update, but there's so many different options that it could be, but we don't know until Minecon Live 2021. I imagine it's going to be kind of like a lot of work, given that they're now bug fixing 1.17 alongside making 1.18 work, alongside getting the early prototypes for 1.19 for Minecon Live this year. But again, crazy stuff in the Minecraft update world. Speaking of crazy stuff in the Minecraft update world, can I speak my feelings on something? Do you want to, because, you know, Logan Entertainment says, I wonder what the second update trailer would look like, and I think the second update trailer is going to be incredible. I think they probably even already made one for the cave update that they were very excited for, and that we'll see later on this year. But I want to talk about the trailer for 1.17, because again, I didn't mention it on the day, like it was kind of interesting, but let's look at this thing together, and let's like examine this, because it's so interesting to look through and be like, oh yeah, well they show off some copper here, right? And it's really cool. And then there's a goat. The entire trailer is based around goats, and it kind of annoys me because of all the features in this update. You know, there are lots of entirely finished systems. Goats are the one that are objectively not finished, you know? They say they remove features because they wanted to polish them. The goat doesn't have a full-on function, right? It's gonna have a goat horn later on. We've already seen it. They removed the goat horn, and the goat horn didn't have a use as it was. So the goat is literally not a finished mob, and they focus the entire trailer on it. And I get that there's some comedic value in like, oh, it's cute, the goats are ramming you, but there's no point to have a goat ram you because there's no horns to be gotten. The whole trailer is focusing on a mob that doesn't have a use, and it blows my mind because the same thing is true for the promotional images they've used for this update. They always show off ones that show off mostly features not from this, and it's like, what is the messaging on this? I'm just I think though the interesting thing we've seen from the release of this is that actually there is a fair amount of hype for any new update that comes out, that people are excited for whatever tends to come to Minecraft, and that is a cool thing. It doesn't matter, you know, like on an objective level, sure it could have been bigger, sure there could be more things, but it's been really cool seeing the excitement people have had to look for deep slate ores or building with copper houses, or, you know, maybe doing some hardcore stuff for the first time. Cough, cough, subtly promoting my own live stream, except not doing it very subtly because I'm calling it out. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you do choose to subscribe if you want to see more of these daily on your homepage. And I'm excited to tell you that there'll be a new update coming out in the next week or two, or maybe even 3. And of course, I'll let you know when it's out and what should be in there. I would expect it to be either next Tuesday the 15th or Tuesday the 22nd. But, you know, you can keep your eyes peeled to the channel and wherever else, or you can subscribe. You don't need to keep your eyes peeled if you have the notification bell turned on. Boom, that was a smooth way to say thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.